Some of us took the job we knew we shouldn't have took because it had more money, but it didn't have the right culture. We were going after money and not culture. So we took that job, and God was like, I had you there for a reason. Even though you were making less money, you were growing closer to me and becoming a better person overall, so that your character and integrity will be able to hold you up in this next season. I didn't tell you to move, but you moved on your own. You moved for money, and you didn't move because you didn't seek my counsel. Or because when you sought me, I was silent, and you took my silence as an answer. I don't speak just because you want me to speak. I'm God. Who are you? I speak when I want to speak, and when I speak, it happens. When I say it'll happen, not when you want it to happen. What do you do when God is silent? See, a lot of our problems is we control freaks. When I speak to God, I want him to speak back to me. If I talk to somebody on the phone, I want you to say hello back. If I ask a question, I want an answer. So when we ask God a question in this, well, then I'm going to just go ahead and move on my own. I'm going to just go ahead and do my will. Oh, I'm going to do what I think you want me to do. Sometimes, God just wants us to stand still and know that he is God. He is working on things even in the silence. Anybody receiving this morning? I'm wrapping up. I got a lot more, so I'm going to probably finish it next Sunday. But let me get to this part. So there were no dreams, there was no Urim, which is the set of objects used by the high priest in Israel to receive revelation from God to determine his will. And the men who were supposed to speak on God's behalf, the prophets, they said nothing. Have you ever wondered, where is God? When I need a word from him. When I need him present. When my family's in the hospital and they dying. When I just lost one of my loved ones. When I lost my grandmother or my aunt or your brother or your sister, your niece or your nephew who's just a baby. Where is God? When your child goes missing, there's a kidnapping report. Where is God? All these lost babies on social media, we share it. Where is God? Your business is about to close. You're about to run out of money. Your relationship's about to end. You don't know what you're going to do next. You can't hear God. You're sick in places you've never been sick. Where's God? You actually in the hospital. Don't know how it's going to turn out. Where's God? Verse number 7. And Samuel said to his servants, seek out for me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a medium at Endor. Now remember the previous verses that said that Saul kicked out all the mediums and all the necromancers. He kicked them out. When he was prophesying, when he was speaking, thus saith the Lord, they was gone. They went in the land. But the moment he was afraid, the moment life started lifing, can y'all go find? And the moment God wasn't speaking fast enough in his life, he went and saw a witch. He went and saw God's enemy. Ooh, God was putting this thing together and he said, talking to me, this might help you. Don't go speak to my enemy just because you can't hear my voice. So I was in my office last night, like, yes, God. Right? Saul went and spoke to God's enemy because he couldn't hear from the Lord. And his servant said to him, behold, there's a medium at Endor. Now here's another thing that stood out to me about this verse. Saul had the wrong people around him. When they should have been telling him, continue to stay on your face. You need to keep praying. You need to go back to prophesying what thus saith the Lord. What they told him is, I know a medium and where she's at. I know a witch and where she stays. She's at Endor. We can go get her right now. She can go give you a word from the other side. Some of us have some people in our lives who are our friends, our acquaintances, who are pulling us away from God when they should be pushing us to Him. They should have said, let's call a fast. Remember how you used to prophesy. They should have reminded him, remember when God made you king of all Israel. Why are you going to the enemy for your answer? Remember the last thing He said to you, and don't move off that. Okay, so here's the answer. You ready? The question was, what do you do when God doesn't answer, right? Here's the answer. Write this down. Remember the last thing that He said to you, and don't move off that word until He gives you another one. That is the answer. The question was, what do I do when I don't hear God? What do I do when He's silent? I go to the last thing He told me, and I stand until He tells me otherwise. If He don't give you a new word, stand on what He said last. So if His last thing to you was, be patient, then you better be patient, baby. If His last thing to you was, kill it, then why haven't you killed it? If His last thing to you was, cut the ties, move forward, why haven't you moved forward? Whatever He told you last, make sure you do it to completion. Because we know what happens when you don't fulfill and you don't obey exactly what God tells you. Let me remind you, what happened to Elimelech? He told Saul, you lost the kingdom this day because you failed to obey my entire word. Some of us have done 90% of what God told us to do, and you're in disobedience. And you can't hear from Him because you haven't obeyed Him.